All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are back and we are talking Married to Medicine, but not the entire cast this time. Not the entire cast. We are actually just going to cover Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie is in the hot seat, and guess what? Black women are pissed off about the audacity. Okay, the audacity. And they have called Dr. Jackie to the carpet regarding her comments saying that Black women can be very dramatic and cry wolf when carrying child, when pregnant, and people did not like that. And she even doubled down. She said, as a medical professional, it's very hard for us to believe you when there's not really a problem and you're just looking for an excuse to not go to work. Let's take a look. Now, before we share Dr. Jackie going on record, y'all, I cannot believe that as a medical professional, she actually went on record to share her true thoughts about Black women. Um, Let me add a caveat. The caveat is she had just sat down and did an interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. I hope I said it right. And they talked about the maternity health crisis in America that's impacting Black women at higher mortality rates than any other race of women. So she did this beautiful interview with the vice president, and then she turns around and she says this. I'm going to show you the snippet of her having a conversation with the vice president. And then I'm going to show you a snippet of her letting her hair down and sharing her true thoughts and feelings.
In one of the wealthiest countries in the world, the United States of America, we have the highest rates of maternal mortality. That Black women in our country in this era are 3 times more likely to die in connection with childbirth. I think it's inexcusable.
It certainly shouldn't be that way. And what I really want us to do is just make sure we are talking about it.
We have been fighting for states to expand Medicaid coverage. We need all the states to sign on, and we need to let moms know that they're actually entitled to Medicaid coverage for up to 12 months of postpartum care. And that's one of the things that we need to get the word out. We also set up a hotline for mothers to have support in terms of emotional and mental health support. So I'll give you that number, and let's make sure we get that out also. It's 1-833-TLC-MAMA.
All right. And I'm going to be posting it and shouting it to the hills so that moms know that we support them, that we want to make this better.
Let us all work together.
As African-American women, we're a bit more dramatic. And that you go to the doctor and you complain and you complain and you complain, and you're not taken serious because you cried wolf the entire pregnancy.
That ain't me, boo. I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
I didn't say you. I just said as African-American women, we want to also make sure you're being serious with your doctor and not playing the game so I can take you off work. Because then we see you 25 times in the pregnancy. It's hard to believe that there's a true problem when there's a true problem.
What are your thoughts? Now that you've heard Dr. Jackie really talk about how Black women can be dramatic in her opinion, they complain, and that's why we don't take you all serious because you're crying wolf the entire pregnancy, throughout the entire pregnancy. Oh my gosh, Jackie, this is so embarrassing to the Black community and to the medical doctors, that are working so hard to bring attention to the health disparities that Black women face in the healthcare system. The biases that Black women face in the healthcare system is no different than the biases that Black men face when it comes to police brutality. You get what I'm saying? It's just opposite. It's medical brutality. And we are dying. Okay? We are dying. And I would expect Dr. Jackie to be able to hold her personal peace and still remain professional because I think let me ask you, what are your thoughts? Is it okay for her to speak openly and freely outside of science when it comes to what she feels like Black women come into the office and portray? in her opinion. Okay. Now, keep in mind, all of this is subjective. What she's sharing is subjective to what she feels like she's experiencing from her patients. And maybe, just maybe, Dr. Jackie, it's time for you to take a long break. Girl, I used to reel Curtis a new one. I used to reel Curtis a new one because I often felt like he was pretty aggressive and not really compassionate and understanding to Dr. Jackie when it came to her practice and her as a career woman. But maybe you should take a break, a long break, because burnout is real. And I'm sensing a bit of frustration, okay, when it comes to you and your workload. And because of that, I think you misstepped as a medical professional, not because what you said, but because of the environment in which you shared it. You shared it openly, you shared it publicly, and you have to be very careful because there's a lot of white people in the healthcare system that are going to take your word as the holy grail, and they're going to continue to neglect the medical needs and the clinical needs of African American women. Does that make sense to you all? Now, Dr. Jackie also went on to say that Black women, and I'm paraphrasing, they come in and they complain throughout the entire pregnancy. First of all, let's not use polarized statement. Entire means 9 months they've come into your office. I don't think that's true. Maybe you've had repeat people, and it sounds like you have a bias towards the working class because you said many of them are looking for an excuse not to go to work. So we know we can assume that you're not speaking to the likes of your celebrity clients that often have a higher income bracket and do maybe a different realm of work. Let me ask you something. Why is it a problem that a Black woman needs a day off? I'm gonna wait, Dr. Jackie. Why is that a problem that a Black woman needs a day off? Just because you've conditioned yourself to work like a slave doesn't mean every other woman should adhere to that work life, to that work life imbalance, because you don't have a balance when it comes to work life, right? And I kind of feel like you're shifting your own personal beliefs onto regular, normal Black women. Okay. If the truth be told, many Black women don't have the luxury of making excuses in corporate America. We got to get shit done come hell or high water. We got to get shit done. They don't care if we're sick. They don't care where our mental health is. They don't care if you're a single mother. They don't care if you're having complications, right? Uh, Throughout your pregnancy. Many Black women do not have the luxury of not getting the job done. They have to show up, swollen feet, back hurting, all of the things that are characteristic when of being pregnant, of carrying a child, the beauty of carrying a child. Okay, many Black women do not have the luxury of asking for help. And the times that they do come to you as their trusted provider, you jump on social media and you complain about it, Dr. Jackie. That's highly irresponsible, in my opinion. And I'm afraid that it's going to send the wrong message to women that are in your care that they cannot come to you when they're not feeling well because you're not going to believe them. And if you do decide on that day that you want to be kind enough to write them out a letter so that they can rest, right? And just take some me time, Black Girl Day off, right? And just have a Black Girl Day off, hashtag BGDO, because that's basically what it is, taking a Black Girl Day off, that you're going to think ill of them. And that's not good. That's not good because you have to be able to trust your provider, right? When we think about the maternal health and the mortality rates, right? that Black women are 3 times more likely to die while giving birth to a child. Girl, I got to be able to trust you that when my pain threshold is over the top and I tell your motherfucking ass that it's hurting me, that you're not calling me a liar, that you're not refusing to give me some type of pain relief by way of medicine. A lot of people feel like Black women have not earned the right to complain. Okay. And as a matter of fact, as Black people, we have been conditioned to not complain, especially Black women. And I feel like you are carrying out that that notion, Dr. Jackie, by coming to a public environment on a public platform and shitting on other Black women. Black women that have a high maternal mortality rate. Texas is the highest. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. The state of Texas has the highest maternal deaths when it comes to African American women. Now, let me tell you what they try to do in studies and in research. They try to loop us all in one bucket. And depending on who's sharing this data and facilitating the conversation around the research, what they'll try to do is say women of color, because a lot of people have a problem in the healthcare system solutioning for Black people, specifically Black women. So when you're in those rooms, what they try to do is say women of color. Therefore, we don't have to address the highest mortality rate in Black women. We can focus on the Hispanic women. We can focus on the Asian women. We can focus on any other woman but Black woman. And a lot of people have a hard time saying Black. And it seems like you do too, Dr. Jackie. It seems like you've become very resistant to solutioning, in my opinion, for your own people. But when I'm in those rooms, I challenge them. I said, wait a minute. If we say women of color, we still have to be able to spike out that data, because Black women still have the highest probability, the highest risk of dying while giving birth. And Dr. Jackie, that would have been beautiful if you could have approached that conversation just a little bit differently with Dr. Heavenly and challenged yourself to have a little bit of empathy for your patients, and even opened up the floor or the dialogue for it to be a teaching moment. You could have simply said, ladies, I know it's hard, but here's how you can help us as a provider. If you just need a mental health Black girl day off, then say that, and I got you covered. And Dr. Jackie, with your health assessments, you should be checking on them anyway. You should be checking on their emotional well-being anyway. Maybe it's not directly related to the pregnancy, but it's indirectly related to the pregnancy. Why does there have to be this visible physical ailment for Black women to be able to take a fucking day off? Y'all, this is crazy. Maybe she's just not feeling it mentally, girl, and she need a damn day off. But just because you run yourself in the ground doesn't mean other Black women have to run themselves in the ground. Just because Curtis gives you little to no empathy doesn't mean that you get to show up like that. And that leads me to believe that when it comes to your cup, it's not full. Your love tank is probably sitting on E. And there's a possibility that you could be running on fumes. We often perceive the world as we are, you guys, when it comes to how we view people, places, and things. We see the world as we are. If we feel like, and this is what I'm saying, that there should be little to no excuse for you to take off from work, we're going to inflict that ideology on others. And that's what it sounds like. Or that's how you came across, Dr. Jackie. And to say that Black women tend to cry wolf and just want a day off, I'm going to call bullshit, because now we have to get into numbers, which would lead me to question and ask you, what percentage of your practice does not include Black women, because that's a very skewed and a very biased statement to make if 90 to 95% of your practice and your patients are African American. I tell you what, start bringing some white women in and having a diverse pipeline of patients. Then you can talk, because I guarantee you, if you were to do that, Dr. Jackie, you would not have boldly made such irresponsible statement that Black women, if all you see is Black women, of course, it's going to appear that Black women complain. So fucking what? Pregnancy is hard. 9 months of carrying a living thing in your body. When we think about gestational diabetes, lack of, and you don't even deal with low income women, according to the street. So who are you complaining about? They say you don't even take particular insurance plans. Who are you complaining about? That's look. I just think it was very insensitive. Um, One thing I've heard someone say is, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, then change your attitude, but don't complain. And it seems like, Dr. Jackie, as we're gearing up for 2024, this just may be the right time for an attitude adjustment. Maybe we have started to glorify Dr. Jackie to the point she can do no wrong in our eyes. And maybe she has established herself as a godlike presence in the Atlanta community, right? It's a big deal to be a Black doctor. It's more of a big deal to be a female Black doctor. Have you taken advantage of our trust and our love and our support of you, Dr. Jackie? Have you gotten bigger than your britches? Are we overreacting? Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Do you think it adds to the solution or it adds to the problem when it comes to her subjective feedback regarding Black women? Let's take it to the chat. What do you think?